Hey gang, it's the weekend. It's Saturday, and something really cool happened yesterday for Miss Zippo. Instead of the traditional um, walk down the aisle thing for Lisa's son, Justin, um, both moms are going to walk Justin down the aisle. So she and the fiance Ashley and the other mother are out getting fitted for dresses this morning. So that gave Zippo a little bit of time. I've been working on something and I shot a lot of video on it, and of course I corrupt enough of the files somehow that I wasn't able to. I made a ignition key relocation plate similar to the one that's on Big Bill. I had the whole thing videotaped, and I moved it to the other side. I had it over here. I moved it to this side, trying to get the wires to work with it, but I could only make left-hand turns, so I had to extend the wiring harness on the ignition switch, which is what we're going to do today. This requires taking the tank off, which is a really easy process, and disconnecting the pigtail and removing the key switch from its original location so that we can extend the wiring harness and put it up here. Big Bill's wiring harness was also extended, and I thought maybe I could get enough wires, get enough length, but I couldn't. So I will, after we get all the wiring and get this positioned where I want it, I will take the plate off and do a little bit better cleanup on it. It's got a little bit of work marks on it there. The other side doesn't, because I did have it over here. But anyway, let's get to popping that ignition switch out, get the tank off, get things unplugged. Now I can get it unplugged without taking the tank off, but I need to reroute the wires up through the tunnel to the switch, akin to Big Bill. So let's just get into it. All right, it's pull the gas tank time, and it's really easy. You have two hoses, one and two. One is for reserve, and one is for regular. And you have, it's hard to see, but you have a rubber sleeve here that holds the back of the tank. So you just pull it back and gently lift up on the back of the tank, just like that. Get that out. Then you just slide the tank back off of the feet, lift it up out of there. Just like that. Easy peasy. One of the easiest tanks to get off, and you can get to everything. It's just wonderful. But all we're going after right now is just the ignition switch. So I'm going to put you guys in a different spot here, get you a little closer. How about that? And up just a little, up a little more. There we go. Okay. So I've already loosened that up a little bit. Make it easy to get off. And I'll show you what kind of retainer that is. That retainer just has 4 notches in it. And then you have a washer. Be sure when you put that retainer on, there's a rounded edge and a flat edge. Put the flat edge against the plate and the washer behind it. And pop the ignition switch out, just that easy. Just like that. And you can see the wiring here where I tried to find enough wiring, so we'll have to retape that. But here's the boot. And we'll get a small, what can we use here? Tell me. Yummy. Use this. Get that little clip. There, and this is the only part we need right now. So now we're going to go over to the workbench and just extend it. And we'll put new shrink tube on the section that we're going to add. I'm going to add about 4 inches. I'll have room to tuck it. I just don't want to make it too short. Because like I said, I was only able to turn left. I couldn't turn right. So let's get over there. Alright, I think I got everything I'm going to need. I think. Nope, I didn't get my little torch to heat the shrink tube. I'm getting it. Got it. I know I don't leave it on the jet. You can adjust these so that you can see. I'll show you. Get it lit on the jet, and you've got a collar here that you can adjust that reduces the oxygen and gives you a cooler flame. So that's the way we'll do that. All right, now we're going to cut into it, and I kept calling the group of people Maker's Mark. I so sincerely apologize. It's not Maker's Mark that Jocko is a member of and that I'm a member of. It's Maker's Space. What made me think Maker's Mark is just beyond me. So I'm going to be really careful here. Get a little slit, tiny one, so that I can get in without cutting any wires. It's actually okay if I cut wires right around here because I'm going to be cutting them anyway to make them longer, right? Getting there. Then we'll see if we've got appropriately colored wire. That may take some digging, but it won't be a big deal if the wire colors don't match, because they will match from the original. Right? Right. Okay, we've got that cut all the way through, and we have 4 wires, 2 brown, 1 red, 1 black. And on these old motorcycles, black is positive, which is kind of backwards. And then we have a solid brown, then a brown with a white. So all we're going to do is lop them off like that, and we will strip back some of this insulation so that we can strip the wires. Is this like watching paint dry? We can not do this part on camera, or we can do this part on camera. A number of people say, boy, it's an awful lot to spend on a box cutter. And I absolutely agree. I do. If I did not know the backstory, and I did not know the extent that Jocko went through to create and perfect this utility knife, all of the effort, if I did not know all that, I'd have said, you guys are crazy. There's no way in the world I'm gonna pay that much for a utility blade holder. But after watching the story, I could not wait to get my hands on it. Absolutely could not wait. So we have a solid brown, a solid black, a solid red, and then a brown with a white stripe. And we look over here and we have the same. Let's see. Yeah, we can cut that back a little further. We've got shrink tube we can put on it. I want to be sure that the shrink tube is good and sealed against the elements. I've had a lot of, in the past, I've had people say, well, it's going to suck if you're caught in the rain and water gets into your ignition switch. Well, these are water resistant switches to begin with, but beyond that, you are moseying on down the road in the rain, and the rain doesn't hit these. I've been on Big Bill and it never gets wet. Got everything in front of it, the gauges, the tachometer and mile per hour gauge. And we're going to strip off about 1/2 inch on each, roughly. Come on. Thank you. And these strippers are awesome. Now, these are universal. I have another set that actually has the wire gauge that you go through. It's a Mac or Matco set. I think it's a Matco. But wire strippers like this are just flippin' awesome. I got these from Lowe's many years ago, and I lost one of those screws. I was over at my uncle's helping him out. I lost one of those screws. And don't you know, I found it. Tiny little screw. I was in his backyard helping repair an old wheel horse that I had to clean the carburetor on. I showed you guys in a video here a while back, but this has been a few years ago. So anyway, you guys just sitting here listening to me mumble. Let me grab some wire. Just gonna grab a couple random lengths of wire. I know I've got red, I know I've got black, and I think I have gray, so we can use the gray in place of the brown. I do have a big tote full of wire, and I could probably get all the colors matched up, but I'm not digging that tote out. Got enough wire here. And make sure it's an appropriately gauged wire. Doesn't have to be exact. You just don't want to go with a smaller gauge. We'll use orange for the brown. How about that? And then we've got our red. And yes, the red is shorter because we don't need as much of it. Where's my black? There's enough black right there. Okay, I'm going to show you guys me just doing the end of one wire. What I'm going to do, pretty simple. I forgot to get a chip brush. Let me grab a chip brush real quick. Or acid brush. Not a chip brush, acid brush. Okay. Acid brush in hand, and that'll be used obviously for the flux here. So I'll load it up pretty good. I typically just go ahead and throw these away. They're so cheap. Excuse me, inexpensive. Now we have to tin the end of the soldering iron. So we're going to let it get good and hot to where I see things liquefying. There we go. I'm going to use some steel wool. that's that. You can see there was enough on there that it tinned itself, so I don't have to put any more on there. And then I'll, whoops, get that out of the way. I just got steel wool dust everywhere. Okay. I forgot what I was saying. Let's just go ahead and do the black wire here real quick. We'll do one end of the black wire, and I will measure all these when I'm done here. But I just wanted to show you guys real quick what the concept is, and I'll get all of them done on one side. Then I'll put my 5/16 shrink tube on. Then I'll put another piece of 5/16 shrink tube on the other side, so I can slide the two of them together. I can shrink one down, then slide the other one over it to give me a pretty good seal. So let's tin the black one. Ah, cool. Stay. All you want to do is just heat it up, and you'll hear the flux making a bunch of racket. And don't put your solder directly on top of the soldering iron. Put it on top of the wire. I've got the wire on top of the solder. There we go. So now you can see there is a tinned wire right there. So I'm going to do that to the rest of them. I'll turn you back on when I get ready to stick this guy in with that guy. So hang on. Alright, I've already got one done here, and I'm just going to show you how I do it. You don't have to do it this way. It's kind of silly, but actually I use the solder to hold the wire. Now if you look, I used a Sharpie and made a black line for that wire. So all my wires are cut to length, all my wires are tinned, and all I'm going to do here is wrap this really fine gauge solder around the wire just to hold it in place. Then I'll come in and I'll heat it up, and the end result will be what you see here. Nice clean way to do it, and you don't have to hold on to a bunch of wires and be a contortionist. All you need to hold on to is that wire there. So let's get her done. And I preheat just by holding the button in. Maybe there. I just preheat. I see the smoke from the flux coming off. I just touch two of them together till I see that they're married, and I hold them together for a little bit, and then I check it. That's not good enough, so we got to do it again. Everything always works good when you're not on camera, right? But there we go. We got her. And we've got those two. We'll come across, we'll get that one, which would be the one with the line that I put in it. So on and so forth. And I'll bring you guys back after I get the whole thing done, and we can see if my guess on the length was right or not. Hang on. Alright, we got one side done. See here, they've all got their heat shrink on them. So I've got large piece of heat shrink that's going to go over all four, and I cut it extra long, and the leftover piece is going to go on this end. Get all four of those wires tucked up in there. Come on, get in. And I won't shrink this down. Hopefully it'll go over this mess here. I should have staggered them a little bit, but hindsight and all that. Are you gonna make it? Are you gonna make it? Tell me you're gonna make it. Oh, please go over that. That's the biggest shrink tube I've... No, it's not. I've got bigger shrink tube. But we're golden. It's going. Awesome. Okay. Keep it going. You guys can't really see what I'm doing. Keep it going. I gotta get it over the other wrap, hopefully. Looks like they're both just about the same size. Is it going? It's going! Sweet. Get that pushed over a good solid 1/2 inch. There we go. There's the end of it there. So, alright, so we're good there. Find the end of the wires, which is right there. I'm going to go ahead and snip it. And then I'm going to keep shoving this casing down so I can get to those wires and solder them. And I won't need near as long a piece on the other end, obviously. I'm fighting out a camera view just to get this thing tucked down in there so I've got enough wire exposed. There, we've got our 4 wires exposed in here. We're going to do, let's see, get it in as close as we can. Cut it to about there. Should give us plenty of overlap, hopefully, but just to be on the safe side, let me see what I've got over here. I may have a size slightly larger than this. I think this is, what, 5/16? Yes, see if I've got something a little bit bigger than 5/16. Yeah, there's 3/8. Good. So we'll whack a piece of 3/8 off. Also, the idea for the 3/8 is once I get this piece of shrink wrap on and the other piece of shrink wrap on, let me tilt you up just a little bit more. Once I get the 2 pieces of shrink wrap, the 5/16 on, this will be slid over this end here. Then I can come back over again with the 5/16 just for extra security and waterproofiness. So there we go. That's working out like a charm. Here we go. Good. Happy with that. So I'm going to go ahead and get these all tidied up, and then you guys will see the finished product here shortly. So hang on. Alright gang, I just finished soldering up the last wire. Show you what we've done here. We've got all of those soldered up. We've got the heat shrink tube down here for each individual wire, and then this large piece of shrink tube, a slightly smaller piece of shrink tube, and then the main covering shrink tube. And also down at the bottom here I have a small piece of the original sheathing. So we should be pretty well sealed up. So I'm going to grab each one of these, pull them up, and get those secured on there. I'll just do one here real quick. I suppose I can just pull them all up at the same time, huh? No reason not to. Then I'll just have to watch how I'm heating them up. Was tricky getting all of them together. I wound up using hemostats to hold the wires together, as well as wrapping solder around them so that they would secure themselves, but everything is tight as a drum. And the only thing that we really have to worry about at this point is, did Zippo leave more than enough extra to work? If not, all of this work here is for naught. Got one here that's just slightly longer, which is making things just a little weird. There we go. Meaning one of the wires is just a little longer. Come on, get on there. And we'll make sure that we are completely over the solder joints on both ends. You can see I've got a little bit of the black, so I just slide that down. Looks like we're good. If I open these up far enough, I should be able to sort of kind of individually heat them up. So let's see what we can do. We ready? A nice orange flame, just real nice light touch. A little bit on top, a little bit on the bottom. Doesn't take much. Sorry, I'm out of view. I've got the camera so close. Alright, now the plan is to move this piece and that piece up over those. We'll see if that's going to work or not. If not, that's why I put the larger one on there. Let's get that larger one back down a little bit. Here, give you guys a little better perspective of what's going on. Let me get a hold of that with these hemostats. That'll make it a little easier for me to pull that up into place. Maybe. Or maybe not. I guess I'm just going to have to sit here and fight it for a little bit. So it's starting to go over. But like I said, that's why I put that larger one on there, was just in case, right? And looks like that just in case was a good idea on my part. I want to turn that one in because it's got a little spot. Let's see, can we get it? Can we get it? Well, and now I'm out of view again. I'm fighting it. You guys want to sit here and watch me fight it? Okay, we've got that over the ends. So I'm going to pull the larger one back just a bit. Go ahead and heat just this up, just this bitter end here. There you go, as you can see. So I'm going to continue on. I'll show you guys the finished product here in just a second. Alright gang, I got it finished. Somebody else is holding it. Say hi. She made it back from getting her fitting. But there we go. We are all sealed up and about ready to test fit it. So just as she got home from doing the wedding fittings, in which she looked just beautiful, we got that done, and I finished the shrink tube as she and I were talking about everything that was going on. So now it's time to put Garfield back together. So hang on. Alright gang, well, we got her all wrapped up. I do have to put wire ties on, but I retaped what I untaped here. Here's the pigtail for the ignition switch. And here's our new wiring going up to the ignition switch, which is now at home. And I'm full to the right and full to the left. no issues, no problems, no binding. And there's plenty enough slack that it's not going to be in the way of the tank. So we should be in good shape. I guess the last thing we need to do is find the key. There it is. And make sure that everything works the way it's supposed to work, right? Ready? We should get some lights. Let's see if she'll start. Might be a little temperamental because she's cold, but there's a little bit of fuel left in the carburetors there. Ready? There we go. Looks like we're golden. All right. Now all I'm going to do, there's just a couple bolts holding that bracket on. I'll take those off and that'll go in a baggie marked CB550. Show you guys the final product with everything back together. Alright, I know this is a long video, but we are all done. What's that?
Marty's little grandson, the new one that was just born, laughing.
But we're golden. We've got everything working.
Laughing at his brothers and sisters.
It's so nice having.
What?
What are you wanting me for? I'm talking on the video.
Sorry, I didn't know you were talking. I'll turn off the baby laughing.
That's okay. We all love baby laughing. And you're laughing. But tell everybody bye.
Bye.
Bye. Alright gang, that's it. Project done. We'll see y'all on the next one.